My mom said, "We spent 99% of your savings to buy your brother a house." My brother mocked, "You don't have a dime left." But I let out a laugh because they didn't know what those savings were. My name is Jennifer. I'm 34, a family doctor at a busy clinic on the east side, oldest of two children, the one who remembers birthdays, restocks the medicine cabinet, and shows up early to fix the wonky smoke alarm before mom forgets. I drink my coffee black. I run 3 miles before the sun comes up, and I can tell you the difference between a panic attack and an asthma flare and the time it takes to open a pulse ox. That's my job. Calm and chaos. Fix the thing. Keep everybody breathing. In my family, though, I've always been the background person, not the golden child. Not the disaster either, more like the wallpaper. Useful, quiet, easy to lean on. My younger brother, Mason, has the spotlight. He always did. He's the charming one who can borrow your car and return it empty, then make you thank him for the privilege of keeping it running. If there was a curve, it bent around him. If there was a bill, it bent toward me. I didn't notice it at first. When we were kids, he got the new bike. I got, "You can use his when he's not home." In high school, he got a party for passing algebra. I got a nod for getting into a good college. During med school, when I was calculating how many protein bars I could live on in a week, Mason was figuring it out in a series of jobs that had fancy titles and unpaid training. Somehow, there was always gas money for him and a lecture for me. That became the rhythm. I handled my own business and quietly managed the rest. Last Sunday, I drove over after my clinic shift because Mom had texted family dinner 3 times and then called once while I was stitching a kid's eyebrow. Her voicemail was the usual sing-song guilt and weather report. "It's been forever. Honey, drive safe. Cloudy later." The house smelled like lemon cleaner and roast chicken. Dad had the game on mute. Mason was already there in one of those thin hoodies that cost too much and sags after 2 washes. He did that half-hug tap like we were teammates. Mom fussed with napkins like they needed surgery. We ate. Small talk. My schedule, his projects. Mom asked if I was still doing that little clinic thing, like it was a hobby. I swallowed it. You don't go to war over tone. You just pick up the plate and keep moving. After dessert, Mom cleared her throat and glanced at Dad, then at Mason, then at me. She did the thing where she pretends to be brave for everyone. "Jennifer," she said, "we need to talk about your savings." I put my fork down. "My what?" She folded a dish towel with missionary precision. "We spent 99% of your savings to buy your brother a house." It landed softly, like she'd practiced making it sound reasonable. Mason leaned back and made a low whistle like a sitcom guest star. He smirked. "You don't have a dime left, Jen." I felt the room tilt a few degrees. In the clinic, my hands never shake. At home, they did, almost imperceptibly. I looked at him. Then I laughed. Not big. Just one quick breath that sounded like disbelief and maybe a little relief because they didn't know what those savings were. I stopped there. I let the silence sit like a loaded tray. Mom blinked. Mason tilted his head like a dog who heard a word he liked. I gathered plates. I rinsed the sink. "We'll talk after I take the trash out," I said. And I took the trash out because you don't sprint into a burning room. You check the exits, you count to 10, and you decide what you're willing to lose. Here's what you need to know before we get to the part where I said no. I didn't become a doctor because I wanted to be a hero. I became a doctor because my pediatrician was the first adult who talked to me like I had a brain and a future. In college, I did campus clinic nights and learned to listen. In med school, I moonlighted at a call center, took notes in the margins of anatomy flashcards, and learned what debt feels like when it sits on your chest. Residency ate 3 years of my life and handed me a coffee habit and 2 vertebrae that click in the winter. I came out the other side with a job, a modest apartment, and a spreadsheet that would make a banker blush. My parents were proud in the way people are proud of the sign in their yard that says protected by alarm codes. They showed me off but never listened to the alarm. They loved the idea of me. The actual work, being on call, being tired, being careful with money, was Jennifer's thing, not something they had to respect, let alone protect. Mason is 2 years younger. If he were a patient, I'd write, pleasant, highly social, limited follow-through. He can sell anything, including the need for you to rescue him. He starts businesses at the rate I start clinic charts. I've got a line on a thing. I'm in talks with a partner. He can talk a circle around a due date. If a bill comes due, that's when the group text lights up and I get a call with a tone like, I've disappointed them by not already handing over my wallet. Mom runs the scoreboard. Remember when we helped you with your textbooks, Jennifer? She means the used book I bought with a gift card from an aunt. Remember when we put gas in your car? She means the time they borrowed my car, returned it on E, and I filled it the next day. Favored math. Their contributions are multiplied. Mine are invisible. It wasn't one big theft. It was 100 small withdrawals with cute names, floating you till payday. Can you spot me the fee? It's just this once. When Mason overdrafted, I sent $300. When he got a ticket, I sent $212. When he moved, I Venmo'd $600 for deposits. Every time there was a family story attached. He's trying. You know how hard it is out there. Your father and I always help our kids. Your father and I met me, the ATM with a stethoscope. I kept telling myself, boundaries later. After residency. After I paid down the highest interest loan. After the clinic stabilized. But later is code for never when people learn that your no is made of rubber. 2 years ago, I opened 2 savings accounts. One was obvious, my main savings linked to my checking. The other was a separate credit union account with a boring name and no card attached. That second account held the real future. My down payment fund, my emergency cushion, the taxes I pre-saved because I hate surprises. The linked savings, the one they could see when they helped me set up the family budgeting app, was the decoy. It had rules. Keep a cushion for small emergencies. Auto transfer $150 per month. Nothing that would make them sniff out the real number. Paranoid, my friend Noor from the clinic asked when I told her. I shrugged. Just tired. She shook her head. You need to stop parenting your parents. I laughed, then didn't. The little humiliations stacked up. On my birthday, Mom handed Mason the bigger gift bag. He needs a pick-me-up, she said, as if I were a pilot light that never went out. When I brought upgraded smoke detectors, Dad joked, look at Dr. Moneybags. When I mentioned contributing to my 401k, Mason said, must be nice, like I was bragging about a yacht. Then the asks got louder. 12 months ago, Mom called while I was dictating. I let it go to voicemail. She left a long one. Honey, it's an opportunity. Mason found a house. It's perfect. He just needs help with the down payment. We thought, well, your savings are just sitting there. I didn't call back that night. I ran. I counted my steps. I let the winter air bite my lungs until I could breathe again without clenching my jaw. A week later, I walked into Sunday dinner. Mason had printouts, Zillow links, interest rates. He said escrow like it was a new word he'd found in the wild. Mom had that look. Soft and proud. Your brother finally found a place to put down roots. Dad asked if I'd do the right thing. I asked, what's the number? Mason tapped his sheet. Down is $38,000. Closing maybe $7,800. We can Venmo you back after my bonus. He said it like a waiter listing the specials. I said no. They froze like someone cut the power. Mom recovered first. Don't say things you'll regret. I'm not regretting a budget, I said. They tried every lever. Guilt. Family helps family. Flattery. You're the only one we can trust. Threat. You'll be sorry when you need us. I left with a to-go container and a headache. After that, I tightened my accounts, changed my app passwords, added 2-factor authentication. I didn't think they'd actually, if you asked me then, I would have said, my family's entitled, not criminal. That was the story I told myself to keep coming to dinner. Then last Sunday happened. We were post-dessert when Mom announced the good news. The house had closed quickly. The agent was a friend of a friend. She said, it worked out perfectly, like the universe had approved a grant. Then she delivered the line about my savings, and Mason delivered the smirk. I washed the plates because busy hands keep the voice in your head from screaming. I looked at the refrigerator magnets while the faucet ran. Dentist reminders. A pizza coupon. A photo of Mason holding a set of keys like a commercial. My keys. Our history. Show me, I said finally. Mom blinked. What did you mean? Show me how you did it. She pulled out her phone, then passed it to Dad. He squinted, thumb fumbling the banking app. I watched the path like I watch a pulse. Linked account, transfer limits. Family View that I'd forgotten I'd set up back when I bought them an iPad and made the mistake of being helpful. There it was. A series of transfers from the linked savings across 8 days. $9,000, $6,500, $7,000, $11,000, $8,000. One had a note, Mason House, you'll be proud. Another had a smiley face. Why didn't you ask? I said. We did, Mom said, as if the word itself were absolution. You said no, but we knew if you just understood the timing. Mason cut in. Don't be dramatic. It's not like you were using it. He grinned. And now you can be the cool uncle when I host football. I laughed again, a small sound, because they didn't know those savings were a decoy, a fence, a test I hoped I'd never need. And then I decided we were done testing. I'm not staying for coffee, I said. My voice came out calm, clinic voice, the one that tells people hard things without lighting a fuse. We're going to undo every transfer you made. Dad crossed his arms. You can't undo a house. Then you can undo it with your money, I said. Not mine. Mom's eyes filled with wet anger. How can you be so cold to your own brother? Mason snorted. It's not that deep. You're making it deep. I took my phone out, opened my credit union app, and slid it across the table so they could see the balance on the real savings account. The number didn't make me rich, it just made me safe. I keep my real savings where you can't touch it, I said. The account you siphoned was a small cushion. The rest is here under my name alone, with no family view and no helpful features. Mom went pale. You hid money from us? I looked at her. From you? No. From this. I gestured at the phone in Dad's hand, at Mason's hoodie, at the invisible scoreboard that had docked me points since I was 12. From the way you treat my work like a faucet and my future like a pantry. Dad tried to swing it back. You think you're better than us because you're a doctor. I shook my head. I think I'm better than this conversation. Mason stood up fast, his chair scraping. You're overreacting. We'll pay you back, dude. Chill. No, I said. You won't. We will, he insisted. My bonus is coming in March. Your bonus is not my retirement plan, I said. And your house is not my responsibility, Mom whispered. What happened to family? Family? I said gently, asked before taking. Family replaces what it breaks. You took, you mocked, and now you want kindness without accountability. I picked up my keys. Here's what's going to happen. Tomorrow I'll send you a detailed message with 3 options. Repayment plan, immediate wire from your own accounts, or we involve the bank and the police. You have 72 hours to choose. After that, I take it out of the family chat and into paperwork. Dad's face flushed. You wouldn't dare. This isn't about revenge, I said, and I watched Mom blink at the word like it burnt. This is about closure. I am closing the part of my life where you treat me like an open tab. Mason laughed again, smaller this time. You're not serious. I pulled the front door open. The hallway smelled like bleach and roast, and the end of something. I'm serious, I said. And I'm done, Jennifer. Mom called after me. Don't do this to us. I paused on the porch. I'm not doing anything to you, I said. I'm stopping you from doing things to me. I drove home without the radio. At a red light, my hands started shaking again and then stopped. I thought about the patients I'd seen that day. A teenager who needed an inhaler refill, an old man who missed his wife and came in for his blood pressure because it was easier than saying he was lonely. People who asked, people who said please. I thought about the number of times I'd said yes to my family because it was faster than hearing no back from them in a dozen different manipulative languages. I parked. I went upstairs. I typed. I wrote it like a discharge summary. History, findings, plan. I included every transfer with date and note. I included what the bank's fraud department told me in a late-night call. Yes, family misuse counts. Yes, I could file. Yes, screenshots help. Then I typed the 3 options. I ended it with, this isn't about revenge. This is about closure and boundaries. Choose how you want to proceed. Send. Monday was loud and quiet at the same time. My phone lit up with 27 missed calls by 9 o'clock a.m., then 51 by lunch, then 74 by late afternoon. The family group chat had 15 new messages, all variations of don't be rash, we're family, and one from Mason that was just a crying, laughing emoji. I muted the thread. In clinic, I did what I always do. I listened, I refilled, I explained. I told a new mom what cradle cap is and isn't. I talked an anxious man through why his chest pain was heartburn, not a heart attack, and how to tell the difference next time. The steadiness of other people's needs made mine feel less like an earthquake and more like a floor that would hold if I didn't jump. At 6 p.m., I checked my email. Dad had replied with option 4, blame. You forced our hand by refusing to help. We did what any loving parents would do. Mom sent a separate note, half sermon, half song. We thought you'd be proud to see your brother stable. Isn't that what you wanted? A stable family? Mason finally texted me directly. Look, I'll send you $500 today. To show good faith. That's fair. I typed, then deleted, then typed again. Option 1, repayment plan, is attached. $500 isn't a plan. It's noise. He wrote back, Dude, you're a doctor. You're fine. That sentence is the thesis of my family's approach to me. You're fine. You don't need your no. Doesn't count because your yes comes with a salary. Tuesday, Mom tried a new key. She called the clinic and left a message with the front desk like I was a receptionist avoiding her. Tell Dr. Jennifer her mother called. It's urgent. I called her back on my break. I gave her the same 3 options. She cried. She did the silent cry, where the air turns into a stage. We raised you, she whispered. You fed me and housed me. I'm grateful, I said. That doesn't entitle you to steal from me as an adult. Steal? She repeated, like the word itself was indecent. We borrowed. You didn't tell me. That's not borrowing, I said. Wednesday morning, a wire hit my account from Mason, $500 again. The note said, first of many, LOL. I forwarded the email chain in my spreadsheet to my bank contact and asked them to proceed. I didn't write LOL. At noon, Dad called from a number I didn't recognize. Your mother is sick over this, he said. Your grandmother would be ashamed of you. My grandmother taught me to lock my door at night. I said, she also taught me to pay back what I owe. He hung up. After work, I changed my locks even though they didn't have a key. It was symbolic and a good excuse to talk to a neighbor I like. I canceled the Family View account completely, called the bank to add a verbal password, moved the cushion money back to checking, closed the decoy savings, and set up a new small account at the credit union with a name like Utilities. I picture-proofed my life. That night, Noor came over with takeout and a look that said, I'll listen. I won't fix. She asked how my day went. I told her the numbers and the words. She nodded. Good job, she said. You're doing the boring, hard thing. That's growth. I laughed. Growth is expensive. She raised an eyebrow. Says the girl who itemized her trauma and sent it in a PDF. Thursday morning, I woke to a wall of texts from extended family. An aunt I hadn't seen in 6 years called me cruel. A cousin wrote, Not everything has to be about money, Jen. No one asked what happened. They just repeated the version my parents fed them. Jennifer is hoarding. Mason is trying. Parents are saints. I did something petty, then decided it wasn't petty. It was clear. I sent the same email with the same spreadsheet to anyone who texted me an opinion. I didn't add commentary. I didn't add adjectives. Just dates, amounts, and the 3 options. The flood slowed. 2 people apologized privately. Everyone else went quiet, which is what happens when you flip a switch they were using to keep their house warm. Friday, Mason called. I let it ring out. Then he called again and again until the missed call counter hit 12. Then he sent a voice memo. So long it split into 3 files. It was all the stages. Jokes, blame, bargaining. I was going to pay you back, he said. And then finally the truth. Okay, I can't cover it, he said, small. If we undo the transfer, I lose the house. I sat with that. The house he bought with my money. The house Mom staged with Dad's righteousness and a smiley face and a banking note. I'm not foreclosing you, I said when I called him back. The bank will decide what happens if you can't pay. That's how choices work. You're my brother, he said. I still am. I'll be your sister again when your version of brother isn't the same thing as benefactor, I said. He went silent. You really called the bank? Yes, I said. And the police. There's a report on file in case we need it. I'd rather not need it. 5 minutes later, $7,500 hit my account from Mom with a note. We are choosing option 2. An hour after that, Dad sent $6,000. Then my aunt, the loud one, texted, You're tearing the family apart. I forwarded her the PDF. By Sunday, I had $21,000 back. By Tuesday, $37,000. On Wednesday, at 11:53 p.m., Fortune. The subject line on Mom's last email. There, are you happy? I replied, I'm relieved. I'm not happy. I didn't gloat. I didn't drop a told you. I didn't drive by Mason's new house. I didn't screenshot the bank app and post it. I made oatmeal. I finished my charts. I watered the plant. Noor says I keep it alive out of spite. I slept without clenching my teeth. And I wrote a new rule on a sticky note and stuck it to my fridge. If they ask for money, say no once. If they ask again, say no and leave. Here's part 1. Wish someone had told me at 22 when I was buying secondhand scrubs and explaining to my parents that resident didn't mean temporary doctor. You can love people and still lock your door. You can be generous without being harvested. You can be calm, kind, and clear. And if they call that cruelty, it doesn't turn your clarity into a crime. Boundaries are not betrayals. Boundaries are the quiet promise you keep to the future version of yourself who has to live with the results. I'm still a doctor. I still show up early. I still carry granola bars in my bag in case a patient faints or a nurse forgets lunch. I still text mom pictures of the sky when it's pretty because she loves clouds. I still want good things for Mason, but I will not finance those good things, not even for just this once. They said they spent 99% of my savings to buy my brother a house. He mocked me. You don't have a dime left. I laughed because they didn't know those savings were the decoy, the fence I built after years of being told that my no was negotiable. They didn't know I'd already chosen the quiet kind of freedom, planning, passwords, and the boring courage of follow-through. This isn't about revenge. This is about closure. I meant that. I still do. Closure for me looks like knowing exactly where my money is, exactly what I will and won't do, exactly who gets a key to my life. It looks like breakfast that tastes like food and not like a knot. It looks like 0 unread messages in the family group chat because it's muted until I decide to unmute it. It looks like hearing my own voice and recognizing it. I'm not going to let them make me the villain in their story because I stopped playing the ATM in their sitcom. I'm not going to argue with anyone who prefers the version where I'm selfish and they're saints. I don't have the time. I have charts to close, a jog before sunrise, and a plant that is somehow still alive. I'll say it once more out loud because it helps. I won't let anyone take from me what I need to live, and I won't apologize for protecting the life I built. I am not angry. I am done, and done is peaceful. If you've been the wallpaper in your own house, if you've been the faucet, the open tab, the cushion, here's my truth. Clarity doesn't require a monologue. It doesn't require shouting. It doesn't require proving anything to anyone who refuses to see. It's 3 sentences. No, that doesn't work for me. This isn't about revenge. This is about closure. Then you turn off the light. Then you sleep. Then you wake up and live the life you paid for alone if you have to. But finally, it's yours. I am Jennifer. I am responsible for my choices, my safety, and my boundaries. And for the first time in years, I am entirely, unequivocally free.